Hello and welcome to our English news edition broadcast to you from Canal, Algérie. First, to the headlines. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, receives the Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, who wound up his two-day official visit to our country with a promise in economic cooperation. The President of the Republic carries out a partial reshuffle at the level of courts, presidents and prosecutors in quest of a better functioning of the sector. The President of the Republic also congratulates the Army General Chief of Staff of the National People's Army, Saïd Chingreha, following the resounding success of the recent military games held by Algeria. And we wrap up our today's edition with a marvelous journey to the snowbird or pines forest of Lawat province, the main destination for the local inhabitants. Good evening, those were the headlines. On Monday, the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, reserved an official welcome to the Ethiopian Prime Minister at the premises of the Presidency of the Republic. Abiy Ahmed reviewed a detachment of the Republican Guard, which paid him the honors before greeting the President of the Republic. Later on, the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, held face-to-face discussions with the Ethiopian Premier at the Presidency of the Republic. The discussions focused on the bilateral relations and ways of consolidating them, in addition to the opening of an airline between Algiers and Addis Ababa. The two presidents also discussed the prospects of boosting the economic cooperation between the two countries, and that by increasing the exchange volume in the agri-food industry, the pharmaceutical industry, as well as higher education and scientific research. The discussions were later on extended to include the delegations of both countries. This took place in the presence of the Prime Minister Ayman bin Abdurrahman, the Foreign Affairs and National Community Abroad Minister Mtala Mamra, and the Principal Private Secretary of the Presidency Abdelaziz Khalaf, the Minister of Higher Education and Scientific Research Abdelbaqi bin Ziyan, and the Minister of Labor Yusuf Shorfa. As part of the visit of the Ethiopian Premier to Algeria, the Minister of Higher Education and Scientific Research, Abdelbaqi bin Ziyan, held talks with the Ethiopian Minister of Innovation and Technologies on the ways and means to strengthen cooperation between the two sectors. For his part, the Minister of Labor, Yusuf Shorfa, also held discussions with his Ethiopian counterpart on ways to consolidate cooperation and expertise exchange between the two ministries. In the same context, the Ethiopian Premier, accompanied by the Foreign Minister, the Minister of Pharmaceutical Industry, and state executives, paid a visit to production units belonging to the Saidal Pharmaceutical Group. Later on, the attendees listened to a detailed presentation on the company and its achievements. Later in the day, the delegation went to a production plant which produces 40 million units of medication annually before halting at the Quality Control Laboratory of Medication. The Prime Minister of the Federal Republic of Ethiopia, Ahmed Abiy, left Algeria after a two-day official visit. Ahmed Abiy was sent off at his departure at the Houari Boumediene International Airport by Prime Minister Ayman bin Abdurrahman and other members of the government. In other news, the President of the Republic of Guinea-Bissau, Umaro Sissoco Embalo, started on Monday a 2-day official visit to Algeria. He was welcomed upon his arrival at the Houari Boumediene International Airport by the Prime Minister Ayman bin Abdurrahman and other members of the government. In other news, and in accordance with the Constitution, the President of the Republic carried out a partial reshuffle in the court's presidents and general prosecutors. 9 presidents of the Court of Justice were transferred, as well as 10 general prosecutors. 10 judges were promoted to presidents of the Court of Justice or Attorney General, in addition to 5 executives of the justice sector to other positions, whereas the duties of 14 presidents of court and 4 general prosecutors were terminated. It is worth mentioning that this reshuffle aims to give a new dynamic to the functioning of the courts and improve the quality of their performance. In other news, the President of the Republic congratulated the Army General Chief of Staff of the National People's Army, Saeed Shingriha, following the great success of the International Military Competition Airborne Section 2022, which denotes Algeria's ability to organize this kind of events, notably after our military team ranked first among 15 other competing teams. Pursuant to the instructions of the President of the Republic, the Education Minister held a concentrated meeting which gathered representatives of the accredited parent-teacher associations. The meeting focused on next year's program and schooling system. This meeting comes ahead of resuming classes on September 21st, announced on Sunday during the Council of Ministers. And the preparations for the new academic year are in full swing to ensure a good resumption for teachers and pupils as well. In Boumediene province, for example, the challenge is to reduce the number of pupils in classrooms. More details with Ines Kilo.
To ensure the comfort of students and to preserve their health within educational institutions, intensive pedagogical preparations and exceptional measures were taken to alleviate overcrowding in classroom. No less than 11 new establishments were added to boost the school educational sector in the province of Boumediene.
We have been able to complete some establishments that will be ready to receive students this year, 2 high schools, 5 middle schools and 6 primary schools. The objective of this project is to improve the schooling conditions of pupils.
Devoir livrer ce projet, c'est pour permettre une rentrée scolaire dans de bonnes conditions.
The number of students this year will exceed 270,000 in different levels, more than 124,000 school children, almost 97,000 at the middle school and more than 37,000 high school students. By September 8th, everything will be ready to welcome the pupils.
The parents are very satisfied with this new initiative that will help their children to study in a good atmosphere. It is worth mentioning that for this new academic year, the English language will be taught in the primary level. The launch of the operation was met with great enthusiasm by the parents and children as well.
We recently arrived to this city and I think this school is a good thing for our children.
We thank the local authorities for this initiative.
These new establishments will make it possible to ensure that all school children in the area return to school in peace and study within the appropriate educational norms.
In a different context, the victims of the forest fires are still being taken care of. The local authorities, citizens, civil defense, and other associations were all mobilized to bring the necessary aid to the affected regions, as it is the case in Soukharas province. More insights with Melissa Kabash.
Once again, the Algerian people displayed an ideal solidarity to the entire world. Public authorities, civil defense, and citizens all gathered to bring help to the victims of the forest fires that hit the province of Soukharas.
We've received solidarity and aid from the different associations, namely that of local authorities.
Thank God the public authorities were mobilized and provided us with the necessary means like water and food.
I would like to thank the Algerian people and the authorities for their genuine help.
Step by step and hand by hand, the Zarouriya is seen in light again. Thanks to the unity of the region's inhabitants, the lands affected by the fires are being revegetated.
I hope that the public authorities help us more. With God's willing, we will be able to revitalize the region.
I'm not giving up. I have hope and I will plant my entire land again.
Thank God everything is back on track, knowing that the province of Soukharas is a forested region. 30% of the territories are planted.
It is just a matter of time. The province of Soukharas will restore its natural beauty, and the region's inhabitants will be provided with the necessary means to get back to normal life.
And in another development, Morocco counsels a meeting scheduled for next month. The recent statements made by the European Union's High Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy, Josep Borrell, on Western Sahara angered the Makhzen, which went so far as to cancel a meeting with the head of the European diplomacy. The Moroccan foreign minister gave no explanation except that the visit of Borrell to Rabat at this time was inappropriate. This confirms once again the state of diplomatic isolation of the Makhzen, especially after the absence of Morocco at the Tokyo International Conference on African Development. The Sahrawi President Brahim Ghali hailed Tunisia's commitment to the principles of Constitutive Act of the African Union and its clear and neutral position in favor of the Sahrawi cause, and this despite the multiple attempts to sow discord. This was during a message addressed to his Tunisian counterpart at the end of the TICAD 8 summit. About TICAD, which was held in Tunisia, the Tunis Declaration, which was adopted there, set 3 cooperation pillars, namely achieving structural transformation for economic growth, laying the foundations for a resilient society, and ensuring sustainable peace and security. The document emphasizes the necessity of integration, solidarity, and investment in people, the cornerstone of the African global growth. And the national football team secured a 3rd consecutive victory by beating the Emirati squad with 3-0 as part of the U17 Arab Cup being held in Mostaganem province and Mascara provinces. The national team had already ensured their progress to the next stage following their convincing victories over Palestine and Sudan. And let's get a breath of fresh air in Lawat province. And in Lawat, Snowbird or Pines Forest, more precisely, the main destination for the local residents looking for relaxation and entertainment during these hot summer nights. Story by Najah Tayyar.
Seeking serenity and relaxation, some families of Lawat pay regular visits to the Snowbird or the Pines Park, where they spend unforgettable moments. This forest reminds us of the importance of trees and planting them, also the significance of the green spaces for the climate. Every evening I bring the children to relieve stress and enjoy the place. The park contains numerous attractions, what makes of it the finest opportunity for a cheerful time for the children. We came to have fun in this park that is actually very beautiful, and a lot of people come here. Families come here to chat while their children play around. This forest space at the heart of the city is a pearl that must be carefully preserved.
And with this, our today's news edition comes to a close. Thank you for joining us.